This is Brian at Atlanta Hot Tub Center, guys, and today on Tub Talk 101, we are going to do the highly anticipated Jacuzzi versus Sundance. What separates these two hot tubs, guys? I get asked this all the time. Let me first start off and say I think they're both great hot tubs, but they are very, very, very different. People always say, well, you're under the same umbrella. Well, guys, let's take a second. Sundance Jacuzzi, Hydro Pool, okay? Dreammaker Thermal Spas, right? Dimension One, the list goes on, right? So there's a lot of people under the umbrella, right? But they're all very, very different, and they're all designed for somebody different, right? All depends on why it is you're looking for a hot tub. So again, let's jump right in. Jacuzzi versus Sundance. Guys, there's gonna be a fair amount of cuts, right? Because I've gotta get a Sundance in the picture, and I gotta get a Jacuzzi in the picture, so there's gonna be some cutting and pausing here, but we're gonna get through this. So, let's jump right in. This right in front of me is a Jacuzzi. I've got the front off of the Jacuzzi. They do use Balboa electronics. Guys, I love that, and so does Sundance. So they both use Balboa electronics, all right? Now, I want to take a look at this base, okay? Here's the base on, right? You can see it. It comes off of the ground. One thing I like about it, guys, and of course all this stuff is all opinion, right? It's all opinion based, and you can make a decision on what's best for you. But right here you can see that you have this plastic base that goes all the way around it, and the question is, what is underneath this base when you take it off and you disconnect this drain over here? So, let's jump right into that. All right, so this is a Jacuzzi hot tub, all right? And we're restoring this tub here, right? So you guys know we refurbish hot tubs. I've got the base off of it. And a couple of things that I want to point out that is different from Sundance is that it doesn't have a base. It's actually baseless. Like, it's got the frame for the side paneling, but there's no base. Me personally, I really want to see a base, right? There's nothing supporting this really, but some PVC pipe, right? They actually have PVC pipe that run up from that plastic pan that go up underneath this to support this. And that's why we've got this 2x4 holding it up here, because once we take the pan off, of course, this whole thing sags, because once the pan comes off, these pieces are gone, right? So, all right, let's take a look up underneath it. Ow. So, now that there's no base, right? And again, you guys got to draw your own conclusions, but I'm not a huge fan of this. There are some things that Jacuzzi does that I do like, but there's no base. So with that being said, right, even if you put the plastic pan on and you go to level this thing and put shims on it, the shims are going to sink right into the hot tub. You can't level a Jacuzzi hot tub. It actually says it in the pre-delivery instructions that you have to level, okay, the area, you know, before you put the hot tub down. The reason that you have to level it is because, again, there is no base here. There is no structure. So if you put shims up underneath here, it's going to sink into this foam. And now you're thinking, saying to yourself, you're saying, well, hey, what is supporting the shell? Like, does it have any shell support? Well, guys, they're doing the same thing again, right? They're using these. They're using these. Like, if you look up underneath here, and sorry, Dusty, I hate to make you squat down 500 times, but look up underneath here, here's one right here, right? There's a pipe there, there's a pipe there, there's a pipe there. You know, again, it's baseless, doesn't have a base. But that's one difference between Jacuzzi and Sundance. Let's take a look at a Sundance. Let's take a look at how that's built. All right, so let's kind of see how a Sundance is set up when it comes to the actual base, all right? So this right here, right, this is a new one, right, ultimately what we're looking at, but they're all the same, and I'll show you one that's a little bit older that I've got a base off of on the rack here in a moment. But up underneath here, guys, you can see it's fully wrapped in plastic, right? So it's fully wrapped, but there is a 2x4 right here, right? Like this is hard. This is a 2x4 here, right? It does have a full base, so with that being said, it can be leveled. The shims aren't going to sink into this, right? So it does have a full base, and it's supported very, very differently. So if you look up over here now, this is an older unit, okay? It doesn't have a full plastic pan on the bottom of it, but as you can see, it's got a full base, right? And I think a full base is to me, is very, very important on a hot tub. And when you have a full base like that, the other thing is now you can bring this skirt down, right? So now the skirt on the hot tub can come all the way down to here, right? Where if you don't have a base on your hot tub, you'll see, right, that you've got this plastic pan now that goes way up here, right? This plastic pan that goes way up here, then they're using the different PVC pipes to level the shell. And from here, we're going to do some comparing and contrasting of some other things between Sundance and Jacuzzi. I'm going to look at the jetting and the filtration as well. So we'll go from here. All right, so I got a Jacuzzi hot tub here, guys. Here's the inside of the Jacuzzi hot tub. Pretty nice, I like it. One thing that is different is they have this raised edge, which I do kind of like with Jacuzzi that Sundance doesn't do. It's kind of nice to have this up here like this where the water can kind of flow in. Kind of gives you a little bit more of that ambiance, right? Where you hear the sound of a waterfall, right? Can be calming. Let's talk about some major differences here. One, and over there by you, Dusty. Oh, I got one over here. This is a air control actually, and it's not really a control. It's on off. Either off air or on air. And let's talk about that. It's the mixture of air and water, right, that create the pressure from the jetting, right? You have diverter valves. They can divert water from one side to the other, but it's this that creates the action, that adds the air to those jets. I personally, which is different because Sundance actually has an air control where you can control it. So you can kind of, you can pinpoint, right, where you want the pressure and how much pressure that you want. Where really, you just have this on-off valve when it comes to the air, right? This on-off switch. Again, it's up to you, whatever works best for you. I do like to be able to pinpoint the air coming out of the actual jets, right? Now, you can also turn the outer collar, right? So individually, you can control, the jets individually by turning the outer collar, which you can do that on a Sundance too, but they do have a way where, again, you can pinpoint it with a dial, right, on how much pressure you want to come out of a particular section. Jacuzzi also has moving parts. So, these rotary jets, they have moving parts in them and ball bearings and stuff. And one thing that Sundance really takes pride in is no moving parts, right? They had rocket scientists actually build the jetting, and the jetting has no moving parts. They're designed to last a lifetime. Jets with moving parts will eventually fail, and you will have to replace them, right? Normally in a 6-7 year period of time is what we're experiencing with moving parts on jetting. The other thing that I want to touch base on is the filters. So I'm a huge fan of horizontal filtration, all right? When you have vertical filtration, when your filters sit vertical up and down, and the suction's at the bottom of that filter, you're really only utilizing the bottom third of the actual filter, right? It's least path of resistance, right? If the suction is down here at the bottom, then you're only going to use that 1/3 of the actual filter. So 2/3 of the filter isn't actually going to get used. On a Sundance, they flip the filter on its side, right? So you have horizontal filtration and they're sucking through both sides of the filter, right? Creating almost a vortex and utilizing the full 125 square feet of filtration. And we'll jump in and we're going to look at a Sundance next so I can kind of go over how that actually works. Here's a few key differences between the two brands to help you kind of decide what's best for you. All right, guys, so here we are with the Sundance, right? Let's start off where we started out over there. Then we'll go into some other key differences between the two brands. Waterfall, right? Again, the raised edge is a nice touch, right? Having that waterfall up another 8 to 10 inches flowing down in the water is a nice touch. From there, I do want to take a moment, right? And I want to talk about this filtration, like we were talking about the upright filtration. This is horizontal filtration, right? And what I mean by horizontal filtration is the filter actually sits here on its side, right? And we're sucking through both sides of this filter, right? There's actually a suction on each side and in the middle, right? So what we're doing here, guys, there's a lot of engineering that went into this, is we're creating this vortex, right? And this vortex really utilizes a full 125 square feet of filtration, right? So the bottom third of my filter is not gonna be dirtier, and the filter will be evenly dirty throughout, right? I do like that setup. The jetting, again, this was built by rocket scientists. It has absolutely no moving parts, yet every single jet will move left and right. And the way that we're creating that action is by a Venturi funnel, basically, right? We're restricting pressure and opening it up, creating the jets to move left and right or to rotate and knead into the muscle, right? So some key differences there. And of course, you know, on the skirt, like we looked about, you can take a step back there, Dusty. You can see the skirt goes further down to the ground, right? You're not really sitting on a pedestal that you're kind of sitting on when you look at a jacuzzi hot tub. You can see this skirt comes all the way down to the ground here, all right? Another thing I want to touch on here is this aromatherapy system, guys. This is Sundance. So depending on what series you get or model, and each brand, okay, Jacuzzi will have a blower, but really, when you talk about Sundance and when the blower is on a Sundance hot tub, right, we add an aromatherapy system, which means that basically we're taking an aromatherapy cartridge, right, we're putting it into the hot tub, right, but it's actually never touching water. We're only sucking air through those aroma beads, and then we're ejecting it into the water, right? So follow me for a quick second, so quick understanding. Right? If you're sitting in your bathtub and you add aromatherapy oils to the bathtub, it turns into oil, you end up with that scum line, right? You gotta get in there with a magic eraser and wipe it off, right? Well, Sundance said, hey, look, you know, that's a pain in the butt. We don't want scum lines and stuff, so how do we get some aroma into the water? Well, when they introduced the blower on the Sundance side of things, they decided to put in some aromatherapy. So again, that aromatherapy is only having air, right? This air is passing by it, sucking through it, and it's ejecting it into the hot tub. So for me, that is an added benefit to the Sundance brand. Another thing I want to point out is I want to point out these stainless steel handles, guys. And you really don't see these on any hot tubs, but this is very different when we're comparing Sundance and Jacuzzi, because you won't have these two big stainless steel handles to help you get in and out. I love this. I know that a lot of people say, who cares, just a couple handles, but if you own the hot tub for a period of time, I think that you will find having these two stainless steel handles really come in handy to help you get in and out. Now, another thing that Sundance has is due to us having this big filter box, right? Because one thing I will give Jacuzzi props for is that they do have, I mean, their filters sit vertical. I'm not a huge fan of that. However, it is a smaller footprint, right, than this big filter box. But since we have this big filter box, they have something called a filter lid, okay? And this goes on top of the horizontal filter. And then they said, hey, you know what? Let's do something with this lid, right? So they got 3 cup holders. They got an ice tray, right? You could put a bottle of wine there, a couple bottles of water. But when you're not using it for that, they have this pad here, right? And this pad will drop in here, and this will hold up to 300 pounds. It's actually supported, so you can jump up here and actually sit, right, and cool off. So it does give you a nice cool off seat in the hot tub. And I find this to be very, very important too, because somebody always gets hot before somebody else. And when they do, a lot of times they get out, right? And they go sit on the other side of the deck or the other side of the patio, and that connection's kind of lost. Being that you can set this in here and you can jump up here and actually sit, you're still spending time, right? You're still spending time together enjoying the hot tub. Guys, there's some other differences between these two brands, but I believe these to be the main differences, right? So if you're looking at Jacuzzi and Sundance, this should be a good video for you, and you can kind of make a decision on what's best for you. I'm not telling you that a Jacuzzi is best for you. I'm not telling you that a Sundance is best for you. You've got to draw your own conclusion. Thanks for watching.